What's going on, guys? This your boy back here, and I want to give a quick one-on-one with these York Shipley steam boilers. This boiler in particular right here, this is a 4.1 mil BTU boiler, and it has a max allowable working pressure of 150 psi. Okay. On these boilers, one thing that's very important to understand on pretty much any steam boiler or boiler that you may come across is that you got what you call the combustion triangle, okay? And it has three things in it in a triangle, and it's gonna be fuel. You gotta have a fuel source, okay? Whether that be natural gas or oil, that's one of the most commonly used fuels, okay, for boilers. Oxygen, you gotta have some form of oxygen, also known as air, okay? You gotta have an oxygen source, and you must have heat. You gotta have a source of ignition, okay? So fuel, oxygen, and heat are going to be your main three sources for your combustion triangle, okay? And the air that we breathe, it contains 20.9% of oxygen, okay? So that's very critical to understand that, all right? Because dialing in your combustion on boilers is very important. And another thing I want to mention before I get into this boiler is that when you're dialing in your combustion, it's very critical to understand, okay, if you got too much fuel and not enough air, okay, you're going to be running rich. All right, if you got too much air and not enough fuel, you're going to be running lean. Okay, you want to get that combustion dialed in just right. Okay, and how you know your combustion? You ask the OEM, you ask the manufacturer, what is the combustion on this boiler? What are the ratings that this boiler need to withstand when it's running at high fire and low fire? Okay, that's very critical to understand. All right, now on this boiler, I want to get into this real quick. I have my natural gas line coming into it right now, okay? So my natural gas line is piped into this boiler. You see the shut-off cock right here, okay? Got the union. And then down there, I got the drip leg, baby. You see? Little drip action, right? Okay, that gas line come all the way over here. I got the shut-off valve. I want to isolate it, do some repairs to it. Then I got my regulator valve. My regulator valve, that's pretty much what's going to regulate my gas flow going to the boiler, okay? And right here, if I remove this screw, I can stick my flathead in there, and I can turn it. I can turn it if I want it, okay? And that'll increase my gas pressure, all right? If I needed to. Right here, this line, so after the regulator, it goes to this little line right here. This line right here is for my pilot valve, okay? So this line goes here, right here, and then I got a shut-off valve right here for it. It goes up, then it catches the little small pilot regulator, then it hits the solenoid, then it goes here, and then it goes up, goes past the high gas pressure switch on my pilot line, inside to create what? A source of heat, a source of ignition through the combustion triangle, okay? All right, so that's very critical. Now, right here, this comes off my gas line, so it goes through my regulator, goes here, it hit my gas valve right here, okay? Then after my gas valve, it's go through this gas valve right here, go all the way through for a call on heat into the combustion chamber, okay? Now, one thing to remember is whenever you get a call for heat, okay, you're going to have your blower motor is going to come on, okay? This is going to come on right here, all right? Once that comes on, it's going to ramp up. And it got a pre-purge timer on it, okay? The pre-purge timer is this right behind here. You see this little card, okay? This card right here says 90 seconds, all right? So when this starts up, this is going to take off 90 seconds for a pre-purge, and then it's going to check and make sure all my safety's making my circuit, okay? Like right here, my air proofing switch, my gas pressure switch, my high gas pressure switch. This is safety right here. This is my high gas pressure switch on my pilot line. It's going to make sure all of those safeties make on this boiler, including my safeties up there. I got high limit safeties, I got modulator safeties. I got a few different safeties over there. I got a low water cutoff safety as well too. You want to make sure all your safeties make on this boiler, okay? All right, that's very critical. And if you in doubt on them, you can refer to the electrical schematic, okay? It pretty much tells you everything on this boiler that you may need, and you just got to trace it out, okay? So very critical. When you're working on these boilers, the purge timer card, like when you get these, this is very critical to make sure when you go to the supply house and you pick these up, you get the correct purge timer card for these boilers. Okay, make sure you get the same one in here. All right, do not take for granted that they're going to put the same one in there, because these boilers go to, these S7800 Honeywell controllers go to many different types of boilers, okay? All right, and also make sure you get the correct flame amplifier card. There's many different types of ways to have flame amplifier cards in here. You got the UV, the ultraviolet, okay? You want to make sure you get the correct one in here. And also, you want to make sure you put this on the correct way. You see these two little bada boom, bada bing. Okay? You put that right there. Snap it in place. Okay? All right. Now, back to this over here. I have 2 gas valves on this boiler. And reason being is because one of them, they're both going to be used in unison. But let's say one of them break. One of them fail. Okay? And one of them fail closed. If one of these gas valves fail closed, or fail open, better say, then they working in unison with each other. So let's say if this one fails open and the boiler wants to shut off and it keeps pouring in fuel, then this one right here, it should close. Very rarely should you have both of them fail together, okay? So it's a fail-safe mechanism in it, all right? And also, another thing is on these gas valves, it's very important to know that if you want to know if the gas valve is open, just by visually looking at it, you see right here where it says shut? That gas valve is shut right now, okay? And when it opens up, you'll see that plunger move. It has a hydraulic fluid inside of there, and that'll let you know what's going on with it. And also, you can take your voltmeter to it and test for volts to it as well too. But if you physically want to see, that'll be right there. And these gas valves do become weak over time, all right? So you can have a failing gas valve on a boiler, and it can give you an intermittent fault. So that's very important when it comes to troubleshooting these boilers. Is a lot of times you have to think about what you're working on. Okay, equipment sometimes fails slowly. Sometimes it just fails immediately. Okay, just like with these Honeywell S78 controllers. That's the brain of the boiler, okay? That's the burner controller. But you can also have a lot of different logic issues with it as well too, okay? So when it comes to troubleshooting, just think about those things when you're working on these type of boilers, okay? All right, now back to this. Right here is my ignition module right here, okay? Remember, one of the main characteristics of the combustion triangle is you want to have a source of heat, a source of ignition, okay? On a call for heat, this gets volts to it, and this in return creates a spark, okay? My pilot valve that I showed you over there on this pilot line, so where my natural gas comes up right here, my pilot valve, I'm gonna point with my screwdriver, it comes here on a call for heat, and you see it goes right here, and then follow me, it goes here, goes here, goes here, and creates a spark, okay? Once it creates that spark, that creates ignition within this combustion chamber, okay? And when it creates ignition in that combustion chamber, whenever it says, okay, I have a spark received, that's when my pilot solenoid valve right here, that closes, okay? And in return, my gas valve, this right here, is going to stay open. These two valves are going to stay open, and they're going to constantly pour gas into this main burner right here, okay? And in return, this actuator right here, this Honeywell actuator, sorry, is going to work in unison with the fuel, okay? As far as my combustion, and my combustion parameters are saved on the S7800 controller, okay? I'm going to do a whole nother video on this S7800 controller, so just bear with me, guys, okay? Over here, I have the low water cutoff assembly, all right? And this right here let me know my level in my boiler, okay? So this is the low water cutoff. This is the safety on this boiler, okay? That is the safety on the boiler, all right? And right here, there's a float valve inside of here, okay? And as that float raises up, okay, it'll tell you, okay, I had enough water, I'm good, I'm chilling, I don't need no more, right? As it comes down, it's gonna say, I want some more water, okay? And in return, when it goes below that line, that's when it's gonna kick on.